Awesome.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is adult star, Miss Beth Mckenna. Beth, it's a pleasure and a privilege. How are you?
I'm super. How about you, Mike?
I cannot complain. First and foremost, I am a fan of your work. You do a lot of great work, so it's a pleasure and a privilege to have you on. What I love about what I get to do is interview people of all facets of life, and the adult entertainment industry is one of those industries because it has a lot of great and amazing people in it. So I thank you so much for your time.
You bet. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's no problem at all. And I think what you do is wonderful because it showcases your work. I mean, I could just tell by talking to you in our previous conversations off air. You got that vibrancy and you got that exuberance about you, and it really shows when you work on camera.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. I have fun in life, so I hope it bleeds over into what I do on camera.
Absolutely. And let's start with the hot take here because you transitioned from a career, and we'll put it to you like this, because a lot of people, and we talked about this, some people don't want to do a 9-to-5 job. Some people want to do other ventures. Some people like, you know what? I don't want to just clock in and, clock in, clock out. No, that's boring.
Right.
I want to do other ventures. So let's talk about this. You transitioned from being a lawyer to getting into the adult entertainment industry. What was that like? I'm just curious, just because it piqued my interest, number one. And number two, that's a 180.
That is a 180. Well, and it's not just I tried law and didn't like it. I practiced law full time for almost 30 years. So, and then I started getting interested in the adult industry and started kind of getting my feet wet here and there, and just decided to go all in. And it's way more fun. It's like, life is too short. I started porn, I was 51. I think 51. And I had this strong feeling of, I don't want to spend the second half of my life just doing what's expected by other people, just doing what I need to do to get paid to travel, whatever. But I wanted to enjoy. I wanted to, number one, be authentically me, which was I'm a lawyer and I enjoy practicing law, but I couldn't be authentically me sexually in that world, not that I want to have sex with all the lawyers on the conference. It's not that, but it's like you just tamp down your real self to fit the expectations of other people. And I was just fed up with doing that.
See, I totally get that. And I mean, from my standpoint, I look at it from a stance too as well. Like, look at it when you're growing up and you're inclined to know, like, hey, after high school, I want to go to college. Well, it's like there's not a lot of people that want to go to college. Some people want to go into the workforce right away and explore and travel and become like entrepreneurs, so to speak.
That's right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. Like, I mean, you could be your regular old Atticus Finch, or look at My Cousin Vinny.
Right. Right. That's my favorite movie.
Right?
I love that movie.
You can have that lawyer title about you, Beth, but it's like, I'm more than just a lawyer. I want to do something else.
Exactly. And to embrace my real self, to be as sexual as I wanted to be. I couldn't do that in my life the way it was then. So I started changing things,
I mean, sometimes, to quote Michael Jackson in Man in the Mirror, we have to make that change, And I mean,
that's exactly right.
What you have to do, and I think what's great about it too, is, I've talked with a lot of adult stars. Some of them, they'll watch a film or they'll see stuff like we see, what have you. Now, for you, is that something that you've always kind of been into? Like, you wanted to maybe go towards the adult avenue? Is it stuff
Not
for movies? What is it?
Yeah. So no, I didn't. Okay. To be honest, I was bored. I was married. Right. I work with both men and women, but in my personal life, my long-term relationships are with women. So I was married to a wonderful woman, and she's still one of my best friends in the world, but I was bored. We were friends. I was bored at home sexually. I was frustrated. And so I didn't actually start watching porn until I turned 50. And it was funny. I had seen, I had a boyfriend in college that showed me a clip just almost as a joke to get a reaction out of me, years ago. And I'm like, it's no big deal. But I had never really watched porn regularly. And then I got this, it sounds stupid now because there's so much of this type porn out there, but I haven't watched it. So I was really naive. I said, I wonder if they have lesbian porn now. And so I Google, like literally, I turned 50 and I start thinking about this, and I Google lesbian porn, and my whole world opened up. I'm like, oh, there we are, and the more I watched, the more I kept thinking. And then I started out watching lesbian porn, and then I started watching boy girl porn. And I'm like, the lesbian porn was beautiful. A lot of it was really beautiful. I started in the European markets, and it's just really sensual, and it's beautiful to watch. And then the boy girl stuff for the women, I mean, the guys are mostly pretty cut, pretty fit, and that's fun for me. But it was an athletic challenge. Like, the girl has to be fit. The girl has to be able to handle herself and be relatively flexible, relatively strong. And so I started thinking, I bet I could do that. I would love to try it. And that's where it went. But I had never, it was not something I had thought about for years at all. I was like, lesbian porn, and boop, here we are. It's bizarre.
Well, I can respect that too, because I think the old saying in life is you're never too old, or you never stop learning. Whatever, because if
Exactly
you
right.
look, art is an art, life is an art form. You can apply,
Exactly
we're all just applying our crafts. But at the same time, I look at it from a stance like I'm big into wrestling and music, right? Wrestling music,
right.
very similar with their craft, right?
Right.
Look at a guy like Diamond Dallas Page, didn't start wrestling until his like mid-30s, right? You look at Batista, who's amazing now with what he's doing with acting. You're never,
absolutely. I love him.
You're never too old to not learn anything. And I think that's
right.
It's wonderful that you explore the world of lesbian porn, and then boom, here we are. Like, you just do the Google search. It's not nice, but
it really was. It's like, and to literally think, I wonder if they have lesbian porn now. I'm like, oh my God, there's such a vast world of lesbian porn, of porn generally. But, and so now I've explored lesbian porn, boy girl porn, gay male porn, which surprisingly, I hear so many straight women and straight guys watch gay porn. I'm like, wow, that's an eye-opening. But to then explore different fetishes, and I'm starting to explore stuff like that. So I'm like, it's come a long way from 2017 when I turned 50, and to now with where I started and where we are.
Well, first and foremost, and I'll say this with the utmost sincerity and respect, and I love you to death. You have the sex appeal, and you're an absolutely beautiful and sexy woman.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. But I look at it from a stance too as well. It's not naive, but it's the curiosity. And I mean, the old saying is curiosity killed the cat, but we're not killing any cats here. You're just curious. You're opening yourself up.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And I love it, because I think too, like, as you get older, you want to experience more things, and you want to challenge yourself. And like you said, from the lesbian side of things, the top market, one of the top markets in the adult entertainment industry, and is lesbian porn. And I mean, same with the gay side of things for the males. It's something that people hold on to. And it's like we mentioned fetishes, which we'll get into. It's something that people can grasp and sink their teeth into. It gels.
And it kind of gives you permission to be as kinky or sexual or not. I have friends that are completely asexual, and that is absolutely as valid as me being hypersexual. That whole scale, like the Kinsey scale of straight and gay, to me, there's also the same scale of sexuality from 0 to a million. And all of it in between is valid. As long as it's safe, sane, and consensual, the sky's the limit, and the fetish stuff, I'm still learning stuff like that, but are different. I keep hearing about different fetishes, and hey, can you do pictures like this? I'm like, sure, no problem. Okay. But it's everybody has a kink. Everybody has a kink,
Absolutely. One of the big ones I know, and I know a lot of people have done it from, is like the fetish modeling side of things. People like pegging. Some guys like to be pegged. That's the thing. It's a popular thing. And
it is.
And what's great about it too is, I mean, people talk about when they're having sexual activity and of a sexual nature, sometimes guys may want to watch a porno and you reenact what you see in the porno.
Right.
Stuff that really stimulates the mind. It's the stimulation.
Absolutely. That's the pegging. It's funny you mentioned that. That's one of the things that I have not yet had an opportunity to do. And it is very high on my list to be able to peg somebody. That's one of those, because it's sexy as hell to me, and men that embrace the fact that they enjoy anal sex, and the whole world of liking anal sex doesn't make you gay. the men that are confident enough to know that and live that, sexy as hell, you know. So I'm dying to peg somebody. I just haven't had a chance yet, you know.
It's like the old real men wear pink. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
well, here's the thing, and I'll use this as a kid growing up in the 90s. What's the popular trend as far as music? We have the boy bands, we have the Britney Spears, the Christina Aguileras, the Backstreet Boys.
Right.
As a straight heterosexual male, and like I said, life is an art form. I love all types of different music. It's a very eclectic taste, right? So from a guy, you're not cool if you listen to the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or 98 Degrees. But for me, I don't care. It's music. At the end of the day, it's all music, right?
And it's art, it's talent, you know. Like for me personally, I'm not a big fan of rap.
Yeah.
But I can't make stuff rhyme. Like that's ridiculously, that's talent, you know, that can just, and off the cuff just make stuff up. I can't do that. So I may not listen to rap, but I respect the hell out of the people that do it, because it takes a phenomenal talent to be able to. Absolutely. You know, and it's all about and I respect whether it's in porn or music or books, or like, I'm not into everything. Like, it's funny, my girlfriend is a good bit younger, and so she's into different types of books and different types of movies than I am. And I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily enjoy that, but it's remarkably, the plot line is very stimulating, and you know, it's like I can respect the art of it and the talent of it and the genius that thought it up, even if I'm not into that into that genre of movies or books or whatever. So I can absolutely respect the art of whatever, music, book, whatever, you know.
Of course, with like books, like for me, for example, like I like mystery books and I like positive self-help books because it's very motivational, it's inspiring.
Yep, I do a lot of that too.
And you take in a lot of the words, but sometimes people say like, I don't know how that helps, but I'm like, if you really absorb and take in the information, you know, it'll sync with you. I mean, it might be like some of the same stuff, but reworded twice or something differently, but it all makes sense and it all can consume one's being and help you, you know, stimulating the mind.
Yep. I do a lot of self-help books too. One of the main things I've gotten into that I talk some about on podcasts here and there is there's a personality typing system called Enneagram, 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 and that's Greek or Latin. Anyway, I think it's Greek for 9, a picture of 9, and it's just 9 numbers, and they're different personality types, and it is as Marissa Tomei said in My Cousin Vinny, it is dead on balls accurate. You know, to tie that back in. But and so now I've learned enough about it that I teach it to a group here locally, and that's helped me. It helps me understand myself better, why I'm hardwired the way I am, but it also helps me understand other people, and it allows me to give me grace with myself. I'm not so hard on myself, and I'm not so hard on other people, because I understand now that we're just hardwired the way we are. And we're going to react the way we react. And so it's my job as somebody who knows this to not overreact to somebody else, you know, just right. Understand that that's just who they are. And that's okay, you know.
Absolutely. And to tie it into My Cousin Vinny, the biological clock is just ticking, you know.
That's right. I love that movie.
So
the 2 Utes.
The 2 Utes, yes. Oh. I'll hold you in contempt. There's a fucking surprise.
Right, exactly. My God, seriously, that is my #1 top favorite movie of all time, is My Cousin Vinny. Yep.
Well, here's the funny thing. Anytime I'd say anything about like law, or we talk about it on the show, that's where I go to right there, because
right,
top one. Or I mean, Atticus Finch with To Kill a Mockingbird.
That's right. Right.
It's great, but it's more of a serious depiction.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And it tells a beautiful story and a very important story.
Right.
But it's not nearly quite so funny. Yeah.
Oh, and well, what is it now? Like, God dang, man, we're not like having kids like read those books. There's like a lot of books being banned, like stuff that we grew up with.
Nuts. Yeah, it's crazy. Even my mom. Okay, so here's a funny thing. My mom, this is a total my mom is like a Trump Republican-y, very right wing.
Understood.
And you would think she would be a ban the books kind of gal. But no, we're having a conversation. She loves libraries. She loves to read. And she's like, that should be. And she lives in a city where they've been banning books. And the mayor of the city has refused to fund the public library until they remove a list of books off like the children's shelves or whatever. And she's mad. And we've known this mayor, he's been the mayor for years. We know him personally. I ride bikes with him. My mom knows him because my dad used to work with him. And she's like, he's just being an asshole, you know. I'm like, Mom. And she said that they shouldn't ban any books. That should be up to a parent. That's a parent's choice as to whether that parent is comfortable with their child reading a particular book. And I'm like, okay, we don't agree on much politically, but I'm 100% with you on that. You know, and I was amazed that she felt that way, but it's like, I don't understand the banning of, but I think we're going I tell people all the time that the world, if you look at history, we go conservative and like puritanical, and then sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and then puritanical and sex, you know, and we're just in a puritanical upswing at this point. And it's scary especially for me as an adult performer, you know, and as a lesbian, or a bisexual technically, but as somebody who lives a lesbian lifestyle locally, it's scary because we're going back to people who are outwardly angry at me for being me, you know, and it's weird. I don't like it.
So I can say this, first of all, not off topic. And number two, we'll get back to porn in a second because this all ties in, but you're fine. So I want to just say this to you, like as someone who now lives in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I get it. The South, yeah, I understand. So I hear you. I get it. But no, like I grew up on Long Island, New York, like what we're talking about here.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so who cares? You know what I'm saying? It's one, right. It's north.
Like, let them read a book. They'll figure it out for themselves. Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, the only book I remember being banned was like The Catcher in the Rye because of John Lennon and the Holden Caulfield thing. And, right. So like seeing To Kill a Mockingbird and like The Grapes of Wrath, that's like historical being banned. And I'm like, really? Like I remember in ninth grade, do you remember the book Speak?
I don't.
Okay. So there was so folks who don't remember Speak was a book where it was about, there was this girl. She was at a party and she was raped at the party, and she she would not speak. So she would always stay quiet, and everybody thought like, oh, she's an introvert. Oh, she doesn't say much. What's wrong with her? It's like, no, when you have a secret like this, like it's talking about actual rape and stuff that girls unfortunately have gone through. So if we have that subject matter in school, why can't we have like To Kill a Mockingbird, right?
Right, exactly. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Well, that also ties into the adult entertainment industry, my friend, because like growing up in the 90s, there was the Pam Andersons, there's the Jenna Jamesons, the internet babes, if you will. And what we had in the 90s.
Christy Canyons, all that, yep.
Ginger Lynn will be here all day. I like your style. You have the taste. So we have that golden age from the 80s. We have the 90s. We have the 2000s to the mid 2000s. We have 2022, where the world is full and fluxed with OnlyFans and ManyVids, which I got to say, that's taken over the nation.
It really is. And it's been, I think it was enhanced by the pandemic situation, where especially women at home just started to, it's like, well, hey, I've got free time at home because of pandemic. And so I'll explore. I have friends, and I have a family member that doesn't know what I do. I'm not out to all my family. Some know, but some don't. And this one does not, as far as I know, she doesn't know, but I saw on Facebook, she made a comment, just a joking comment the other day about, I may as well do an OnlyFans. And it's just the phrase, and she's clearly joking, and she's like, yeah, I could do foot stuff, or, and I mean, she knows enough about it, probably hasn't ever watched an OnlyFans anything, but, and she's a grown up, she's an adult with married kids. But for her to even know about that, is weird for me, that the whole world knows about OnlyFans now. It's crazy.
What's interesting too is, and here's where it gets poo-pooed on the OnlyFans, which I think is ridiculous. Like people really need to realize it's not just like pornographic stuff or nude. Like you could do other stuff on OnlyFans, not just pornographic. And that's what a lot of people like frown on, but they don't realize or like take in, like it's not just porn.
That's exactly right. And it's weird. Some of us that are in porn, like my OnlyFans is all porn. or mostly, well, I have these conversations. I don't know if you've looked at all, but I have these conversations like when I'm in the shower in the morning, or so it's nude, but it's conversation where, how's your day? Here's what I've been doing. How was your weekend? Here's what I did this past weekend. But it's sort of a conversation with my fans, but I also have porn. And then like I reserve, because I keep wanting to call it Instacart because we use Instacart, but Instagram is so strict on their rules. So I save my, totally clothed puppy kitten pictures for Instagram. And then the porn is on Twitter and OnlyFans. But it's weird that other people, and I think a lot of influencers have created OnlyFans accounts because there's a lot of money to be made there. And it's great for some of us, but it's kind of diluted the pool because there's so many models on OnlyFans now that you can't, you're not making as much because what is Rihanna doing or whomever? I don't know that she has an OnlyFans, but what are the famous people doing? It's like, well, some of us are just still doing the same porn we've always been doing, but it is. And I think it'll swing back the other way where those people will get tired of it and the porn people will take back over,
Hey, I hear you. I mean, I look at it from a stance too as well. Here's what's funny about it. So again, as a wrestling fan, there was a talent who got fired because they found out about her OnlyFans account. Now, mind you, not nude.
I remember that.
Not nude. It was like comedy. It was like comic book stuff, like cosplay.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I guess because it was strict, like, right. And it's cosplay stuff. It's no nudes. But then again, like there was another situation, I think, with Twitch, because the WWE wanted this talent to like have their Twitch and the rights and stuff. So WWE profit and stuff. It's business. But at the same time, it's like, it's cosplay stuff. And mind you, that talent's back now with the company, but it's like, it's cosplay. You could do other stuff, right?
Good, right. Well, I had heard about, and I hear periodically about, a nurse being fired from a hospital because they found out she had OnlyFans, or whatever. And it's never occurred to me until this conversation that some of those people might not be nude on OnlyFans. And not that it should matter. I mean, what you do in your own time away from work is your own business, but that sucks, especially if it's non-nude. That's awful.
Oh, absolutely. And well, first and foremost, like you were talking about the morning with your showers, I got to say, folks, if you were on Beth McKenna's Twitter timeline and your face comes up and you get to see that imagery, my goodness gracious, that is the way to start a morning, my friends.
Thank you for saying that.
You're very welcome. No, I got to say, first and foremost, when it's like a beautiful photo, you're in your lingerie, or it may just be a full nude, like that's a great way to start the morning, to see your face. I mean that wholeheartedly, Beth.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
You're very welcome. No, it's the appreciation. And I said this to you folks, because she puts up a Twitter post and I'm like, that's sex appeal and the voluptuosity factor at its finest right there. Because it is. And that's a term that I always use as such an endearment, because the voluptuosity factor. Yes.
Because the voluptuosity factor. I got to keep that one. Yeah.
Hey, nobody talks about that. Like the sex appeal, it's real. Voluptuosity factor, man.
And that's the funny thing is I didn't grow up thinking of myself as beautiful or sexy or any of that. I'm athletic. So I've played ball all my life. I've run, I work out. And so, and then as a lawyer, I just, I wear a suit and for lawyers, the shortest, especially for female lawyers, the shortest distance between 2 points gets you where you're going. And, I never cared about being attractive or being seen as attractive. That just wasn't, it didn't occur to me because it wasn't my job to be attractive. Well, now that it's my job to be attractive and people say things like you've just said, and it still catches me off guard because I've spent, 30 plus years not caring and not being aware of it. And so for now, it's amazing and it's really affirming. So thank you. That's not the first thing I think of myself when I think of me attractive or sex appeal or any of that. That's not what I think. So thank you.
You're very welcome. My ultimate mindset that I always use with each and every show is beauty, strength, and dominance, 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. I think my thing is just, I got a great mother, you know what I'm saying? I grew up with my mother and my grandmother around me, so it's that female influence and just respect. And I think it's
strong women.
Thank you. Yes. And it's the overall I'm going to use a word here. It's the appreciator for women. You know, it's the appreciators for women. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
No, but now I'm going to ask you as well. I was going to say, because we're talking about pop culture, like my cousin Vinny, have you ever just, as a lawyer, you ever just wanted to start yelling, "You can't handle the truth," like it's A Few Good Men? Have we gone to that point?
Yes, yes. It's awful. Some people are, it's funny when you know, like my specialty was mostly workers' compensation. And I represented employers and insurance companies mostly, not all, not completely, but mostly. And so it's funny, and it's a niche, and in any state where a lawyer would be practicing, there's a small, whether it's bankruptcy law or tax law or workers' comp, there's like a small circle of lawyers, and you deal with the same ones over and over and over again, and you know each other, and you know their habits and their propensities, and you know how to negotiate with different ones. And so one of the funnest things, but because we know each other, there's not much to argue about, because I know how lawyer B is going to value a case or whatever. And so when I get a new lawyer, especially, and no offense, but especially a male lawyer who sees me and they start assuming, because I'm a girl, that they know more than I do, as I've been doing this job for 30 years. And so they start telling me what's what and what they're going to do. And I'm like, okay, you go right ahead. That's the funnest part for me, is just letting them be stupid and just letting them fall all over themselves. And it's just, you just sit back and you're like, mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, Joe Pesci in My Cousin Vinny. You're just sitting back like, okay, you just ask that extra question that's going to absolutely kill your case, and I'll sit over here with my boots on the table and watch you do it. It's that's super fun for me.
Right. And I mean, first and foremost, none taken, because a lot of men are idiots. And I'm not me specifically, but a lot of men are.
You're not. Yeah.
Thank you. But no, it's like when he goes to like get the suit, you hear that the whole store got the flu. So I either wear this or I wear the leather jacket that I know you hate. So I did this for you, you know? So
right, exactly, with the ruffles and stuff. Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. I can respect that. And I mean, from another comedic standpoint, you look at Jim Carrey and Liar Liar, when he can't tell a lie and he's trying to do the court case, and he's
yeah.
Like the woman, the lawyer on the other side, she was a strong woman. She's like, I don't give a crap what you are. I'm a female and I can do this. That's like the empowerment role, but it's
right. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I love it. I love strong women, and I'm drawn to strong women in friendships, in relationships, in porn friendships, in who I work with and stuff. Like you had mentioned before we went on air, Leilani and Amanda. Ladies like that, strong, beautiful, powerful, confident women. I'm drawn to women like that.
Well, let's talk about Leilani first, because I've had Leilani on the show, and she reminds me a lot of you, because Leilani is probably one of the most sweetest and most vibrant people.
She's adorable. I love her so much.
Such a fun individual, man. Like you have had like a lot of like, I'll say like a lot of foot fetish scenes and one-on-ones. Like there's one where you were a chiropractor. There's a lot of role play, and it's great. You have great chemistry.
I've never laughed so much as I do, because I'll, like, when I'm in Florida, we'll shoot together, and I go to her house, and like her husband films. So I go to her house, and we just have a day of as many shoots as we feel like doing, 5, 6, 7. The first time I worked with her, I think we did 10 scenes in one day. A couple of them were foot fetish, there were no men involved. It was just Leilani and me, but we had a blast. But I never laugh so hard. And it's like there's a guy that writes scripts for us, and sometimes we try to stick to his scripts, but more often what we do is we just have a premise, and just go with it. And it's so much fun, because we play off each other and laugh, and we know each other well enough by now that we read each other, and I know exactly where she's going. She knows exactly where I'm going. And it's hysterical. We have so many outtakes for like, oh my God, we got to start over, because we just start laughing.
Oh, I bet. And I think that's also what's great about porn, not just in front of the scenes, but behind the scenes, the bloopers, outtakes, and everything that goes from behind the scenes, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, she's so much fun. And we get together really every time because my girlfriend is from Florida. So before she moved up here with me, I was going to Florida a good bit. And every time I was down there, where my girlfriend lives is about an hour and 15 minutes from Leilani's. So I would set up to shoot with her pretty much every time I went down there. So we've got a lot of content and it's awesome. We have so much fun. And but we keep thinking of, like, last time we were together, we had 2 or 3 things that we didn't get to. We ran out of time. So we still have more ideas for next trip, you know.
You got to get the creative
What was
juices
one?
flowing, Beth. You got to keep the creative juices flowing.
Yes, it's hysterical. And the funny thing is my girlfriend she's the idea person. So I'll call her when I'm in Florida, and if she's here, I'm like, okay, I need 3 girl ideas. And she's like, okay, oh, there was one that we haven't done that would typically be an older, younger. Oh, the stepmom thing. That and so girlfriend asks, have y'all done the stepmom thing? And I'm like, that's weird. We're the same age. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, we could have some fun with that. That's one that we haven't yet shot, but we're gonna. And it's like, who married whose dad so they could be with the daughter. You know, it's going to be, it's such a different take on the stepmom stepdaughter thing that I think it will be hysterical.
I can respect that, and that's also another great genre and a great part is the stepmom, the role play stuff. Everybody loves a good role play.
Everybody does. It's so funny. I thought I'd have a problem with it. Because you know, I like a stepmom, like for me to be a stepmom to a stepson, because I had a stepfather. So I thought it was like, this is going to be awkward. No, it wasn't. I shot a scene with Nikki Rebel for Score Studios, and it was a stepmom stepson scene, and I could hear my mom's voice in my head, well, your father, and she would joke about, you know, your father went to shop for groceries and all he brought was bean dip, you know, and all this. I could hear at any time, and he's my stepdad, right? So anytime she was upset with him, he was my father. Your father did so and so, your father did. So that was running through my head the entire time we were shooting, and I had so much fun. I'm like, please, let's do more stepmom stuff because it's so funny. It's hysterical.
Absolutely.
Because I'm hearing my mom's voice in my head, like, your father never fucked me this way, you know, all this kind of stuff.
And all he came back with was bean dip. Okay.
All he came back, he loved the Frito canned bean
Right.
dip. We had tons of that stuff.
That's funny. But no, I think that, and I mean, to quote Bobby Boucher, it's like that tackling fuel that really gets you into the mood and gets you where you want to go, right?
It really does. It's like I can just hear people's voices in my head and I just go be them, and it works out beautifully.
Oh, that's a great channeling system. And one other thing you channeled as well, we were talking about Amanda Ryder there. I got to talk about
Yes.
Amanda because you did post some of the scene and the clip on it on your Twitter. Man, the
Yep.
massage scene, just in general, Amanda's a beautiful, voluptuous woman. You too, another one that's really good and really encompassed the scene.
She and I have been friends since early on. We met at Exotica, New Jersey in 2019, and I've been friends ever since. So, and I went out, she lives in Northern California, and I went out for a week and shot that scene and a whole bunch of others. You need to look at the outtakes that we just posted on OnlyFans. She comes up, she's got this huge, I had forgotten until we found it and posted it just last week, so it's recent. But she's got this huge dildo on it's almost like a spear dildo, like it's got a handle and a spear. It's huge. And so I'm lying on the table, and she's in her little skimpy outfit to start with, and I'm, you know, trying to be calm and play my role and stuff. And she walks, and her husband films her stuff too. So I can't believe the camera wasn't just shaking with mirth. But she comes in with this big dildo and she's slapping it in her hand. I'm trying to have my hands where you can see it. She's slapping it in her hand, and I'm Helga, and I'm going to do your massage today. And I was just dying. I was crying. I was like, so hard. So yeah, porn is fun. Porn is really fun. It was so funny.
Right. And that's what you have to do. And a lot of people, here's the problem that a lot of people don't realize with porn. It's not just lay there and boom, we'll do the business. It's the fun aspect.
It's hysterical.
It's funny. And like, again, as a kid, and I'll speak on this because as a teenager, and the hormones are raging, it's puberty season. It's like when you have Cinemax and there's like Nicole Sheridan and Willow, who are a married couple and all their porns, right? Okay.
I love Nicole Sheridan. I'm so sorry. She was an early crush for me. Oh my God, she's so hot.
I was right there with you, but like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you gave me some Nicole Sheridan and Willow on some film. I loved it. It was great. It's great.
She's the reason I watched. What was she in? Knots Landing. Remember Knots Landing, the television show? She's the reason I watched that show. I shouldn't know. Oh my God, I'd forgotten all about Nicole Sheridan. Oh.
Well, again, like when you're in
a little moment.
Hey, no, you're fine. I had that too. I mean, there's so many beautiful women, like growing up, like with the Naughty America sites. Now, mind you, we have like the X Hamsters, X Videos, everything now streaming. But like when you have like Ava Devine and you have all these women, like it's just like it's heaven. It's heaven.
It really is. It really is.
It's heaven, man. But like exactly, and I love it too because we've gone from the days of like my first sex teacher, my friend's hot mom, my naughty Latin maid, naughty office to like X Hamster, X Videos. It's like right at our fingertips. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You can watch anything you want to watch. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of now, mind you, the appetizer of having like a 30-second clip is great, but then it's like, well, you have to pay your subscription for the website. Now you don't have to do that. So
no, you can just buy the whole thing or whatever. Yeah. Or it's free if they post it up there. Yeah.
Well, then you say the keyword, it's free. You know what I'm saying? Give it a little sample.
Right. Yeah.
But no, and I mean, I appreciate stuff like that. And I also look at it from a stance too. Like there's like porn parodies, like the big things too, right? Like, like from, I'll give you an example. Like the first time I ever saw a porn parody, do you remember Spider Babe from like the mid 2000s? Do you remember Spider Babe at all?
I do not.
Okay.
I can only imagine.
So Spider Babe came out a year after the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and William Dafoe and Kirsten.
Perfect. Yeah.
So it was, she gets bit by the spider, much like Tobey Maguire did in the movie in the Spider-Man comics. So her thing is she would fight crime. Then afterwards there would be sex scenes. So there would be sex scene with girls.
Who was the actress? Who was the performer that was Spider?
Oh my God, I have to look it up. I can't remember her name, but I have the visual of just her. And it's very like, she's in there and she's like transforming into like the Spider Babe. It's like black, it's leather. When I find it, I will send it to you.
Please do. I would love to see that. That's hysterical. I want to do parodies. There's a, is it Wood Rocket? There's a site that does a lot of parodies and I'm dying to get in with them. I've shot at their studio, but I've not shot because they'll rent out space. They're in Vegas. But I've not shot with them and I'd love to. I'd love to do more parodies, more everything, honestly, but we're trying to still get back into the, is it safe to go out of the house?
Right.
Is it safe to go to a convention? Is it safe to go to Los Angeles? And yes, it is. It's gotta be, it's gonna be,
I mean, we're in the new norm now. Now, mind you, we still have to be careful and be safe, but it's the new norm, unfortunately. We have to work with it.
I went to so I have some friends here that go, we're big basketball fans, women's basketball fans. And so every year we go and I'm in Mississippi. So, well, this being in South Carolina, we're SEC country. And so we go to the SEC women's basketball tournament every year. And we just went to Nashville last weekend before, last weekend. And so we weren't sitting around we were kind of up, so we weren't sitting around a huge crowd of people, but you're passing people left and right in Nashville, downtown Nashville, all this kind of stuff. And I didn't get sick, and B, the whole time I was there, I didn't wear a mask, and C, I didn't honestly worry about it. I've got 3 vaccines, and I've had COVID twice, to Alpha and Omicron. And I'm to a point now where I'll wear a mask if I feel in like an airplane or enclosed space, but or when someone asks me to. But other than that, it's just going to be what it's going to be.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
And I'm going to Exotica in Chicago. I'm going. I'm tired of sitting at home.
hey, a lot of that got that itch, man. We're all jonesing to do what we want to do. We're all jonesing. And I'm actually glad that you brought that up, because isn't it amazing? Like, we have exoticas, we have the fetish cons, we have the AVNs. There's great outings for us not to just meet the fans, but just it's great to see what everybody's different preferences are, because everybody
Exactly.
unique, and it's fun.
It really is. It really is. And so I have a really good friend that I've met in person at the Exotica, New Jersey. Mistress Kai, Kye is her name. And she always goes to there's a whole BDSM area where they do um different presentations and different whatever. And I walked through there that year and met her. We were already Twitter friends, and then I met her. And so we talk periodically about the next, when we are able to go to the next convention. I would love to be one of her little models that she ties up and does nasty things to. And she was like, yes, that would be so awesome. So I'll be communicating with her about Chicago, and are you going? Because I'm going, and I'd like for you to tie me up. But yeah, it's so fun to see all the different types of toys and different things that people are into, different fetishes. It's a learning experience, even for somebody like me, who's in the industry. It's like, oh, I never thought of that, but yeah, we can do that. We can add that.
And it works too, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, as a teenager, and here's my early introduction to like BDSM or the dominatrix type of stuff, which again, another popular trend in the popular market. So MTV had True Life. When we're not watching TRL or Saber Karaoke, we have True Life here, right? This is before Jersey Shore and everything became
okay.
So True Life had a lot of great stuff that was very influential with like sports or what have you. It's stuff that everybody goes to, hence the name True Life. One was True Life, I'm a dominatrix, and it's this woman being with mistress. They're at a spot like her apartment, and they got the ball and gag, and it's like literally talking about her being a mistress. And I'm like, okay, this world exists, and that put me on.
I'm here for this, right?
So I understand what we're doing here, and I appreciate it. I can respect that. Some people, again, it's a kink, but it's a kink that people want, right? And something to try.
Exactly. Well, and it's, for me, I realized when people first, because my story of lawyer to porn star is an interesting one. So I get interviewed a lot, and they were like, when did you first know about this or this or this? And as far as BDSM, I remember I was, apparently I've been into it for a long time, because I was maybe 6 years old, kid you not, 6 years old. And my mom caught me masturbating, but I was under she has this, and she still has the table now, but it's this long, like a dining room table, but with just two legs. I'm out here, like you can see it, but two like legs. And I was under it, and I had a pillow. So I was simulating breath play, which I now know is breath play, but I didn't then. And I had like one arm, like pretend tied up, and was masturbating with the other hand. And at 6 years old, I was doing all this, and I had never seen it. I didn't know what I was doing. It just was natural. It was like, ooh, this would be a turn on. And so my first week in porn, in May of 2019, the first trip I made out to LA, I made the point of booking a session. I got a recommendation from another Dom friend that I trusted for a Dom out in LA. And I've worked with her 3 or 4 or 5 times now, and miss her. I would absolutely go back next time I get a chance. But I've started exploring that world and what I like, what I don't like. And it's so amazing. I love BDSM. That's another, there's girl, there's boy, and then there's bondage that I just, oh my God.
I respect that. I got to say, you have great taste. You really truly do have great taste. And first and foremost, at 6, now mind you, like, I get it, because you don't know what you're doing, but you're 6, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. So I didn't know what to call it. Now I know it was breath play, and now I know it was bondage. And of course, now I know it's masturbation, but I didn't know what to call any of that then. I just knew it felt good. and it was a turn on, like and I still, even when I masturbate now, I have an image in my head, and it's more about bondage, honestly, than anything else.
So, okay.
That's what gets me off. Yeah.
I could,
That's secret Beth stuff.
I
No
could,
one knows.
I can respect that. No, and I think there's a lot of us that gets our sexual peaks going. Like for me, us as guys, not just myself, the girl
Right.
action, what have you, or different scenes,
Absolutely.
depending on how the camera angle goes, a little POV, if you will. But
Absolutely.
it's one of those things where I can respect that. And I think what was taboo back in the day, like we could talk about it, is now we're all adults. Like we masturbate, we like,
right.
we love it. It's not as taboo as it was back in the day because everything is so free willing and it's so outspoken. Like we
Yep.
don't have to hide it anymore,
Exactly. Well, I grew up in a Southern Baptist environment, in a Southern Baptist family. So that you're going to hell for, even like crossing your eyes, how kids used to cross their eyes if they could, and, oh, you're going to get stuck like that. And, but masturbation was a mortal sin, and you're absolutely going to hell for that. That's how I grew up. And I'm like, well, I'm still doing it. I guess I'll see you in hell. Right. But, it was that very strict background growing up.
I can also speak, first of all, Catholic. So once again,
oh, you get it. Get it. Yeah, my girlfriend's Catholic. So yep, I know.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, mind you, like, and I'll say I'm very spiritual. Like I thank God every day that I'm alive. I mean, even through our darkest hours in our life, God is with us.
I agree.
It's there for us. Exactly. But also at the same time, I don't think God said in the Bible that thou shalt not be sexual. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, exactly.
We're not doing anything wrong. We're not out on a corner.
We want us to enjoy ourselves. That's right. Exactly. And unless we're harming someone else emotionally or physically, there's no, he doesn't care. He's got bigger fish, honestly.
Exactly. And also look at it from a stance too, like with the porn and the masturbation side of things. That's why they always say, why, to always use the pun, why are these pages so sticky, man? You get a magazine, boom, sometimes it's pages. A little sticky icky. It's a little.
I don't know. You tell me.
Exactly.
That's funny.
It is. It's funny, but at the same time, it's like, it's like when you see in Step Brothers when Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly get the hustlers, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
But no, that's how it is. That's how it is. And I think what's great about it too now is, like, we talk about the addition of OnlyFans and many vids and how people are accumulating and making their money. Like, we can literally do anything from the adult side of things and they'll stick it and gravitate towards it.
Absolutely. And there's somebody, it's funny to me that there's going to be somebody there. I have fans that like my feet. I have fans that want to see masturbation. I have fans that just want to have conversation. It's like literally just let's talk. There's literally something for everyone out there, and it's, I get, and honestly, I get requests sometimes that I don't, I'm trying to think, that I don't feel comfortable with doing, that's not me. And I'm not, that's the thing about my brand, is I'm not gonna, or not even my brand, but myself, I'm not gonna do, I don't, like, even in BDSM, you'll never see me degraded by another person. And the funny thing is, I'm submissive with women, but dominant with men, typically. And so if you see me in a BDSM situation on film, I'm submissive, but not humiliated. Mm-hmm. I don't do humiliation stuff. And so I've had requests for, can you talk to me this way, or can you do this? And like, no, sir, I cannot. That's not me. And I'm not comfortable with that. It's not something that I would do in my private life, and I'm not comfortable doing it for money. And it's, so I have some limits like that, and that's just one that comes to mind. But I get requests sometimes, and I'm just very respectful. That's your kink. That's absolutely fine. And you're going to have to find somebody that's okay with it, because I'm not, I respect your right to want that, but I'm not your girl,
I respect that. I mean, there's also, number one, it's boundaries. And number two, something that I always say, and I'll stick this out to you, it's accommodation and comfortability. You have to accommodate your guests and your clientele. You also got to be comfortable at the same time. That's
exactly right. Exactly. And I'm not one that's big on dirty talk and stuff. I'm not a natural at that. My natural talk is comedic, like even during sex, like girlfriend and I will interrupt sex to just die laughing about some random thing. But it's that's more, if you want like a running silliness during sex, call me. But if you want like dirty talk and yeah, fuck me hard, that's, it's just not my personality.
So
It's funny.
I could also speak on the intimate side of things. I am not a dirty talker. Just give me some great company, a great time, and a great setting.
Yep, exactly.
Some people don't do dirty talking, which is fine. You know what I
And
mean?
that's perfectly fine. That's right. I dated a guy one time years ago that it didn't last long, but I dated a guy who he wanted phone sex, and I'm just not, and that's why I don't do a lot of Sext Panther like phone calls and stuff. People ask, can we chat by phone, or can we chat online? I can text you or email you all day because I have a chance to think of what to say. But to like spontaneously come up with, and he's like, what are you wearing? I'm like, pajamas, like I'm not that, I'm like, I'm wearing a sweatshirt and some, running shoes, and, it's that's not me. So if it were a comedic sex talk, that's one thing, but it's like, and people are, because I do Sext Panther some, and they're like, can we do like either a video chat or a phone call? I'm like, you're not gonna like me, because I'm not, that's not how my brain works, because I'm sarcastic, and so I'm not gonna, I'm not naturally sexy. I'm not in language. I'm more like, it's stupid. I'm just dumb with stuff like that.
I mean, that makes you unique. And number one, first and foremost, I like you. So no, don't say that. I like you.
See, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And number two, I look at it from a stance too. You're like Jake in the State Farm commercials. So what are you wearing, Jake, from State Farm? Khakis. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. I love that commercial. It's like a
Khakis.
shirt and some khakis. Yeah. I mean, he would ask me that, and I would just freeze, and it was like, do you want me to make stuff up? Do you want me to? I'm literally wearing a sweatshirt and some sweatpants.
Well, yeah, there's no way to make this sexy. Like, I'm just
Right.
like, what do you
Like I'm wearing a lingerie, and I'm lying about in bed eating bonbons, thinking of you. Like, I'm watching a basketball game or a baseball game or a whatever,
respect, and that's fine. Like, I mean, some people will kind of categorize it as like a plain Jane, but it's not. It's just you being you, and it's like, that's fine.
My mind is like, this is just so dumb. Like, come over here and actually fuck me, but let's not talk about you fucking, let's not talk. It's one of those things.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm more of an, well, here's the thing. And a lot of people do this sometimes to exploit it. Like, they'll have sex with an individual and you'll film it and you put it on the internet, and it's a big thing. But the thing too about it is a lot of people don't realize, like, you're in the moment, you're creating moments and making memories. You don't need a camera to film it. You're with that person right then and there, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, we're not going to film stuff unless
correct.
It's arranged, porn situation. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I will never forget that. It's like, what are you wearing? A sweatshirt? So fucking awkward. I mean, that was easily 20, 30 years ago. So I've come a long way in sex talk, but not as far as I need to come.
Understood. Hey, like I said, you're doing fine now, and it does showcase in your work, which actually I got to bring something up, because she's one of my she's one of my dear friends, and I've seen your work with her. I'll talk about Shelby Paris here for a second.
Oh, I love Shelby.
Shelby and you had a great scene. I got to say, I've seen it. Great stuff from top to bottom. Y'all did.
I love Shelby. Yeah, that was so much fun that day. And Miles shot it. Yeah, that was a fun day. Yeah. And Shelby actually was the first perform. She's got a clit ring. And that was my first experience with a clit ring. And I think I did her justice, I'd like to say. We'll ask her. But no, and next time I get, because she lives in the Vegas area. So I'm trying to get back out there now that things are calmer. I'll set a trip to Vegas to go shoot. And Shelby is absolutely on my dance list.
Oh, absolutely. And
She's amazing. She's so much fun. She's so easy to be around. She's just laid back. She's gorgeous, and she's sexy as hell. So yeah.
Sweetheart of a human being. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Miles Long. We got to talk about Miles Long for a second.
Miles Long, yeah. I have never been contorted into so many different shapes. Miles, like, he's like, okay, can you turn this way and then bend your butt and then give me a leg over, like I was a leg, and no, not really, but I was like, and I know that that's what, and he's amazing. He knows what he's doing, and he's a true professional. And the pictures were phenomenal, but I'm like, I've never been so sore after lunch because I was bent in all sorts of directions. Like, I'm gonna need some Aleve after this.
Hey man, it's the precise. You got to get the right
And
shot.
it was cool to watch him work, because we were at I guess it was Miles. Well, yeah, we were at Miles's house in Vegas. And so he's got equipment, and to watch we talked about art earlier, but the creative genius is like, I want this couch over here, and I want this throw over, and I want this lamp right here, and the lighting, just so it's fun, because I'm still learning about that kind of stuff and what looks good on camera and how the lighting should go. And to watch him work was amazing, and he had all this equipment. He's been shooting porn a long time, and he absolutely knows what he's doing, and he was a joy to work with, and he got absolutely every bend I had. But because I'm not a flexible person naturally, I'm a runner, but I'm not so flexible. So he was like, more, and I'm like, I'm dying. But to watch him move lights and adjust and know exactly what he wanted, that itself is an art form to me. To see him work and to know what he does, and he knows what he wants. He knows what looks good, and he's right.
1000%. And I will say about this scene, because you were talking about doing her justice, you did, because I guess that both of you had that chemistry. And for those who've not, yes, if you've not seen the scene, you do it justice. It does come off very well within the entire scene.
We had so much fun.
That's why I love talking to you also about this as well, because the fun never stops with you. And like I said, you're always learning. You're like a sponge in the adult entertainment. You're like a sponge.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been on a couple of movie sets that I'm just working. It was like I was booked for a Lust film for a dialogue only. Like, I was the mom, so I had no sex with anyone that day. But I got there early and I stayed late simply because it was a learning experience, to watch the director, to watch the camera people, to watch the other performers. I'm not watching sex scenes that most people assume that you want only the necessary people on a sex scene. Most of the performers really don't care, but like, I don't care who's there. But so I didn't watch sex scenes until I saw them on video. But to watch the other scenes being shot, and how they're plotted out and blocked, and how the lighting, how the cameras work, and I learned more that one day than in my entire career so far. Just watching people know what they're doing. It was fascinating.
And I think from your stance as well, because we were talking about the boy-girl scenes as well, which I've seen of yours. I know you've done some work, whether you're fucking outdoors, you're doing a lot of great work on that side of things. You do a lot of great stuff, like the imagery. Yeah, exactly, 1000%. Like, from the boy-girl side of things, like, you do have a lot of great scenes in that aspect as well, and it shows within your talents that you've worked with.
Well, and it's fun. I've made a lot of guy friends in the industry. J. Crew was the first guy I shot with. The outdoor scene you're thinking about is Diamond. Yeah. Chris Diamond. Nope, that's not it. What is his name? I've lost his name. You know who I'm talking about, because it's the outdoor scene in the canyon.
I know what you're talking about. The link will be in the
and it kills me, because he's a friend too. I shoot with him a good bit. There are several guys in Los Angeles that I can call and say, hey, I'm going to be in LA next week. Do you have time to shoot? And they're like, yeah. So he's almost had it. Damn it. Anyway, but yeah, it's fun and sometimes I'll shoot with the same guys over and over. Number one, because they're reliable. Number two, because we have such a rapport that we know we're gonna, whatever the premise is, we're gonna have a great scene. And it's fun to go back and visit with, how are your kids doing and how's your wife and all this kind of stuff. And you get to be friends, actual friends with people. It's not just work acquaintances anymore.
Well, that's the thing too. I think the relationships that you develop with this, because again, like we talk about the art form, the relationships are the best thing because you know who you want to shoot with for future scenes, but also it's that decorum that goes into it that a lot of people don't see.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And you learn who is respectful, who's not respectful. And most of the guys, I mean, I've shot scenes in my own hotel room with a porn guy that I like, a established porn guy that I literally just met. And I'm still comfortable enough for us to be alone in my hotel room, where if something nefarious happened, I would have no recourse. But I've never had an issue. I check out reputations before I work with people. I check out their work to make sure it works with what I do. You have to do your research before you work with people to know, number one, are they safe? And number two, are they what you're looking for in your product, so.
Exactly.
And then they become friends. So there's that.
That's how you have to look at it. And I think a lot, by the way, as we were doing that, because my brain was having a fart too, Chad Diamond. I was like, okay, Chris Diamond, that's not it. And then of course I'm a fan of Neil Diamond. So then all I could think was Neil Diamond, and like that. Obviously that's not it. Chad is awesome. Yeah, I had to do that. I'll be honest, folks. It happens on here sometimes because sometimes the old noggin, and I've been open with my listeners, as an epileptic, when you've hit your head like 5 times, it happens. You know what I mean? It happens.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It happens. You know what I'm saying? We all do stuff, so it is what it is.
But yeah, I was like, oh, what's his name? I can see him. I love working with him.
Yeah, Chad is actually very good. I've seen a lot of his work as well. And I think what's great about the men and the female side of things is, like we were talking about the decorum. One of the things that's great about it too is, like, whether it be the men or the female, they know what they're doing. Like yourself, you know what you're doing, and it really does. And I think it's great that we have it does. And it's great that we have all this content on our fingertips for everybody to check out, whether it be the past or the future.
That's right. And another good guy that I work with a lot that I keep calling back every time I go out is Dan Ferrari. He used to go by Indiana Bones, but he's using his actual, I think it's his real name is Dan Ferrari. But he is awesome to work with. He's really fun. He's very comfortable. His wife actually films his work. So, and that's been an interesting thing for me, to get comfortable with somebody's boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband filming their content. And now it's the norm. It's like most guys, most other performers, partners, male or female, film their stuff. And so that was strange to me for a minute, but it just shows how cool people are. Like, this is a business, we're friends, and the rest of it's business, and we handle it professionally.
I got to say, my friend, you are a true pro, Miss Beth Mckenna. And I got to say, you're very welcome. Before we do close this out, I'm going to say you are a joy to talk to, and I really did pick at your brain. You're welcome on any time.
How are you? Oh, thank you. I'd love to come back and chat with you.
Now, I'm going to say this as well. I got a funny story. I figured we save this for last. Like, you were talking about lesbian search over here, and then boom, here you are into the industry. When I was a teenager, one of the first sites I ever came across was a site called girlshuntinggirls.com. And for those who don't know what Girls Hunting Girls is, they're in the van, they pick up a girl, there'll either be one-on-one scenes, there'll be a girl on girl. So it was like that type of film. And then there was her first lesbian sex, which was similar to it. So I hear you on the searching of lesbian porn.
That's very cool. That's so funny.
It comes up. That was like the big stuff at the time. Like there was like that was big, but no, I appreciate the art forms. I appreciate women like yourself who do what they do. And I got to say, again, a stunning human being, all in all, internal beauty. You're welcome. And it showcases. And I urge anyone, and I plead anyone, Beth Mckenna on all forms of social media, especially OnlyFans and ManyVids, which we just picked up the Chad Diamond. Sample scenes, full scenes. There's a lot of great work out there that you do, man. So I got to say, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on your program.
You're very welcome. Before we close this out, also social media where everybody can follow you, Beth. Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans. Where can everybody find you on the social media fronts?
Let's see. Twitter is Beth Mckenna 53. I think Instagram is the same. OnlyFans is at Beth Mckenna. And then many vids and clips for sale. And I want clips and all the cool places. Just search for Beth Mckenna and you'll find me.
It's a great find and it's a great follow, my friends. And I will say this, what I also love asking is, as someone who has transitioned so well, who has transitioned and is absorbing and opened up the horizon, so to speak. Beth Mckenna, do you have any advice for any gal who wants to get involved in the adult entertainment industry and do as only as you can do and do a lot of great works like yourself? Any advice?
Oh, you're sweet. I would say for women especially, get to know other performers. I got to know other performers on Twitter before I went out. Do your research, make sure they're safe, because there are some people out there that pretend to be performers while being not so great people. So do your research, check their media before you go work with them, and just trust your instincts. And if you have any questions, look me up and I'm happy to help.
I will say this, not only was she laying down the law, but she does it in a sensual manner. My lawyer turned porn star friend here. You're laying down the law and doing it in a very sensual manner. But the amazing thing is we get to see that transition, and people transition is great and growth is great, and progression and succession, no regression, is an amazing thing.
Absolutely.
So before we close this out, as I always say, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Beth Mckenna, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Mike.
Same. Have a good night, everybody.